how much water does one need? And simple rule of thumb, okay, again, these are rules of thumb. Each of us is different, how our bodies operate. But a simple rule of thumb is 30 milliliters of water per kilogram of body weight. Okay. So that's one sort of way to think about how much water you need. Then, because we all have different lifestyles and we do different amounts of things, certain additional lifestyle changes require additional water consumption. So if you live in a very hot climate, it's really hot today, you should be drinking more water for obvious reasons. And the rule of thumb is, if it's really hot, you should drink at least another 500 milliliters. For every hour of intense physical activity, okay, you require another 500 milliliters of water. If and we have spoken about this in the context of fiber before meal, we have spoken about this in the context of protein. Both those things, if you are having enough of it, you do require water. And so that's another 500 ml. And during illness, fever, pregnancies, you typically also require more water because you're trying to flush out toxins in the case of illness and fevers. Okay. So what does all this translate to? I'm going to give you two examples. There's a 70 kilogram person living in Pune, which is, reasonably hot, but it's not like Delhi, it's not like Arizona, and they're doing an hour of intense exercise, and they're on a high protein, high fiber diet. So the calculation is laid out: 70 kgs times the 30 milliliters plus 250 milliliters for the hot weather, because it's not really hot. It's not, you don't require all 500, but 250. You're doing an hour of intense exercise, so it's 500. If you do only half an hour, you could get away with 250. And because you're on a high protein, high fiber diet, you require another 500. So that translates to about 3.35 liters per day. On the other hand, a 60 kilogram person who lives in New York, relatively cold, does 30 minutes of intense exercise and still is on a high fiber, high protein diet, the calculation is laid out there. So the numbers can change. It's hard to tell people, generally drink 2 liters of water. Yeah, 2 liters is sort of at least will be a baseline for almost anybody. But how much more is probably what you need to figure out. Now, one of the common themes whenever we talk about this is usually some people saying, well, I can barely drink 2.5 liters of water a day. I can't even imagine drinking 3.5 liters of water a day. And my response to that was twofold. Number one, don't jump to 3.5 liters of water a day if you're drinking 2 today. Slowly build it up. So that's number one. And number two, it doesn't mean you require exactly 3.35 liters a day if you were example one. You might require a little bit less, you might require a little bit more. And there is a second test, which we call the urine color test. And the urine color test is a very practical way. I, by the way, personally use it all the time. And the test is a very simple test. All you do is when you pee, look at the color of your pee. If it is colorless, it's white. Okay. There is no color, absolutely. You are overhydrated. Okay. And you don't want to be overhydrated for the reasons I mentioned on the previous slide. If it's this very light yellow, it's almost like a straw color yellow. Light yellow, you're appropriately hydrated. That means your body is still being able to process that water, get rid of the toxins it's supposed to get on the way out, and it's working nicely. If it's dark yellow, okay, you're dehydrated. And so there may be days where you've drunk 2.5 liters of water, even though the calculations suggest you should be drinking 3 liters of water. But if at 2.5 liters of water, you're seeing that your pee is a light yellow color, you know what? Good. Don't have to go overboard. Right? And so between these two tests, right, calculate for yourself what you need and then figure out whether that is actually translating to too much or too little by looking at the urine color will get you there.